First Music returns
on 89.5 The Wave.
What's going on, everybody? You're back in the studio with your boy Solo Hustle. I got my girl Janelle in the studio with me, and as promised, we have the privilege of interviewing Xavier Souter, who is the SGA president of STLCC Ferguson Valley campus, and also Rasheen Aldridge Jr. Can you guys hear me? Rasheen, you there?
I'm here. I can hear you. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Xavier?
Oh, yeah.
It's great to have you guys on the show, man. I really appreciate y'all taking time out y'all busy day.
I was going to cut in and do a little introduction. Xavier, this is Rasheen. Rasheen, this is Xavier, our SGA president here on Ferguson Valley campus. I know that you're
How you doing, Xavier?
All pretty good. And yourself?
Can't complain.
All right.
All right, let's get this thing rocking and rolling.
Word. All right, for everybody out there that doesn't know, Rasheen Aldridge Jr. is a community organizer and activist. He was born and raised in St. Louis. He's currently enrolled at Forest Park Community College. He serves as the director of an organization called Young Activists United St. Louis and sits as student co-chair of the Missouri Jobs with Justice.
Let's let him do that.
All right. I'm just going to give a little overview of what he...
I know. I'm like, ooh, yes, that's grand opening.
Just a little bit. Just a little bit. So, Rasheen, why don't you tell me something about yourself? Tell the people something about yourself that may not know your involvement and what you actually do.
No problem. Once again, I appreciate you guys having me. My name's Rasheen. I'm 20 years old. Be 21 this Sunday, so I'm ready to definitely turn that good old 2-1. As you guys stated a little bit, I'll repeat it. I'm a director of a youth organization here in St. Louis called YSTL, Young Activists United, and the whole purpose of the organization is to organize students on the college campus and also in the community and kind of be that bridge gap. And we focus on social justice issues that students and young people really care about. And what's unique and great about YSTL is we have a huge pool of allies that do great social justice work in this community, as far as, Missouri Jobs with Justice, OBS, Organization for Black Struggle, MORE, MIRA, and many other different organizations. I also serve on the Missouri Jobs with Justice leadership team as a student co-chair, and also was appointed to the Ferguson Commission that the governor put together after the unrest in Ferguson and the tragedy of Mike Brown.
Wow.
Man, a rather extensive portfolio.
He's dope. Okay.
20 years. Are you sure you're 20, bro?
Just a young guy, like
20,
many of these other young guys
here,
out here doing some great work for our community and trying to make positive change. Trust me, the title is don't get too like, titles are nothing. I'm just trying to do, the good work that we need done in our community.
Absolutely.
And he's humble. And he's humble. That's
awesome.
My
goodness.
That's
Xavier, tell me a little bit about yourself, man.
All right, my name is Xavier Souter. I'm the student government president of Ferguson Valley Community College, as well as the MCCA president, and that governs several community college student governments in Missouri. I sit on the planning committee for the Ferguson Youth Initiative banquet, as well as the Text to Ferguson planning committee.
Absolutely. And how old are you?
I'm 21.
He's 21. This is the future of our nation that we're talking to right now.
Absolutely.
Y'all need to understand, man, that we're not just standing back on the sidelines. We are actually making strides to do what the old folks talk about.
Exactly.
That they just,
I
love the old people. I love y'all. We are here, and we are making a stand. Okay, we're going to keep moving. Let me see.
Rasheen, where did you go to school?
So I was about to correct you on that. I actually went to high school. I went to Parkway West. I was in the DSEC program. I lived in the city.
What up, dog?
Went all the way out to Parkway.
Hey, that's me and you, bro.
As far as college, I was enrolled at Forest Park, and then I kind of dropped out when I became the director, enrolled back again, and then when Ferguson happened, I just got so caught up in it. So next semester, I said I'm going straight to UMSL and get my political science degree.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
That's what's up.
How long have you been SGA president, Xavier?
I've been SGA president for about 2 years, and I've been president of MCCA for 1 year.
Okay. And Rasheen, have you been in the Ferguson Commission since it started?
The governor appointed the commission back, I want to say, in like November. I missed the very first meeting because me and Brittany Packnett, one of the other young people, sadly, we're the only kind of really young people on the commission, and we know this commission was formed due to the young people not being silenced and continuing to have their voices be heard and raise the awareness of Black lives and that Black lives do matter. But me and Brittany actually was in D.C. on December 1st meeting with the president talking about these issues that's going on. Yeah, that was surreal, but talking about Ferguson and the other issues in our nation, we was accompanied by some other young folks from Florida, Phil Agnew from the Dream Defenders, Executive Director, James from the Ohio Student Association, another young guy who's been doing a lot of great work in New York as far as data collections as well. So.
Wow.
A lot of those hot states, Ohio with Tamir Rice, and, Florida with Trayvon, and New York with Eric Garner.
John Crawford, shout out to John, the family of John Crawford.
Yeah. Tamir
Rice, yeah, man. Ohio, yeah. Bananas up there.
That's just so dope. With you guys holding such I'm gonna say a big position for a younger generation, what impact do you feel like you have on your peers and people that you surround yourself with that are the same age? Anybody?
Who's going first?
Right. Or do you find that there is some sort of disconnect between people of your same age bracket? Because, like I said, man, you guys are doing a lot to be so young.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
go ahead.
You go ahead.
All right.
Somebody.
I feel that with these roles, they're just roles if we're not doing anything in them. If we don't get out and get our peers involved with these issues and make them aware of the things that happen in their community so they can attempt to make a change.
Absolutely.
Then we're not doing anything at all. Mm-hmm. So I feel that on this campus, we've attempted to get as many students involved as possible. We've planned student walkouts. We were going to plan a candlelight vigil, but that got canceled. But, I feel that if we're in our roles and not doing anything with them, then, we're just seat fillers.
The impact and True. What about you, Rasheen?
More from the community side. I know when I was at Forest Park, I tried to do some organizing on campus, and I had a little difficulty with it since, Forest Park being, a community college, sort of a commuter school, people are coming and going. Yeah. So I had difficulty trying to get other young people engaged or just trying to get young people trying to talk about, like, what issues really impact them because they were trying to get their degree and come. But on a more community-based level, like as far as the Ferguson, I think a lot of the young people have just been stepping up themselves. It's been a lot of young leaders that have emerged from the Ferguson tragedy. Right. And I'm really excited to see how we're going to be able to continue to grow, years down the line, continue to stay organized. But the most difficult thing, I guess, in my opinion, when it comes like trying to get young people engaged in the issues, because, like he said, it is very important. You can be the president, you can be the governor, you can be whatever it is. You can have all these fancy roles, but if you're not training anyone with you, or you're not bringing people with you, and you're just trying to sit there, and you're not serving no purpose. You're not really building the leadership that needs to be built within the other young people. So the most difficult part is I guess trying to get young people engaged around certain issues, and explain how important it is that we go out and we stand up for minimum wage, or how important it is that we go out and we say that we all need Medicaid expansion, because these issues are very important and it affects us all on a day-to-day basis.
Hey, Fred Hampton said it best. You can have as many degrees as a thermometer, but if you're not doing anything with them, it means nothing. If there is no application, there is nothing.
Exactly.
So let me ask you guys, what do you think about...
I think Xavier wanted to say something.
Go ahead, chime in.
One thing that we one thing that we have been doing on campus, Florissant Valley, we've been planning listening circles. And at those listening circles, we invited out community leaders from all over Missouri. We invited several other police departments and their chiefs and their deputies out, so they could explain to students the civilian and police interaction, how they go about that interaction, what to do and what not to do. And then it was just an all-out discussion. It was a safe zone for students to express exactly what they feel about the police departments, that what they're doing wrong and what they want to see a change in. And I believe that contributed to a lot that is happening in Ferguson right now with them, firing several of their administrators who have, been contributing to the corruption.
That sounds really good, what you're doing, Xavier. I mean, having like that safe space for, students not to have to come and already have an agenda,
Right.
for students have like their ideas be implemented, or just being able to speak on what they want to talk about. And I mean, also starting that dialogue, which is really needed in this region and this community between, the community and the law enforcement. So thank you for doing that.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
And that actually brought me to my next question. What do you guys think of the resignation of both Chief Tom Jackson and also City Manager John Shaw? What are you guys' feelings behind those two incidents?
I think it was necessary.
Yeah.
I mean, with all that happening, that should have not been it should not have been easy for those police officers to send those emails. That should not happen. I mean, the police chief, I mean, I'm not going to speak ill of him or anything like that.
Yeah.
But, I mean, he should have been doing a better job with managing what his officers were doing.
Yeah, absolutely.
Those emails should have never surfaced. I mean, not surfaced, but never went out to each other.
Yeah.
I believe that they should have had discussions with their community. There was no community policing at all. I mean, no one knew their police officers. And that was a big issue. I mean, if I'm in the community and I'm walking down the street, I want to be able to point out a police officer and say, hey, that's Jack, what's his name? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And that is not happening in Ferguson. So I believe that this resignation of both the manager and the police chief is a great deal. And it's time to get somebody in there who actually cares about their citizens because, I mean, without that, it's going to be trouble. I mean, and we don't want to get anybody, police departments outside to come in because they're not going to care about the citizens like a community police department. St. Louis County is not going to care as much as Ferguson Police Department cares about their citizens.
Exactly.
So
yeah.
How do you feel about that, Rasheen?
Rasheen, did you have anything on that?
Yeah, I'll definitely say and repeat what he said. What the resignations of the city manager, the police chief, and the judge was necessary and it was needed. It probably should have happened a while ago. It's sad that it took for the young people to speak up, and we get this report because it's honestly they're resigning after this DOJ report. They're not resigning just because they want to, but they should have been resigned. What they've been doing to that community has not been helpful and it has not been productive at all. The emails that the other young guy on the phone mentioned, the emails that they sent was just disgusting. I mean, how are you supposed to represent these individuals? How are you supposed to care about this community? But at the same time, you're making these racist jokes and talking about the president and, putting it with the people in the community, how African Americans won't, keep a job. The president, he won't stay a second term. They can't keep it past 4 years. So I think it was about time that they stepped down, and it probably should have happened a while ago. And I honestly think there's more individuals that are in a power leadership in that community that need to think about also resigning because they have also been in leadership when all these things are going on. And it's not like no one on the Ferguson government knew that these issues was happening. They knew what was going on. It's just there was no transparency, so the community did not know what was going on. But once the community continued to step up and was able to have the help of the DOJ report, it really shined a light and honestly just validated what the community and the protesters have been saying for months, what the community has been saying for years.
Right.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And that brings me to my question of the day because you brought a lot of relevance to my question of the day, which is with Chief Tom Jackson and City Manager John Shaw both resigning, should anyone else resign or be forcibly fired?
Woo. It's getting a little hot
it is
here.
that's a hot topic.
That's
Is it
the warm bottom color?
I thought it was a little too hot, but I said go ahead and ask it.
It's
You
getting
never
hot
know.
up in here, y'all.
This is Nellyville now. It can get hot in here. It's Nellyville,
Yes. I don't know. I mean, it could be it can't be off the record.
So, what do you?
I mean, well, in my opinion,
we don't have to name names.
I said, I do think there was a lot of other individuals that was in a leadership position and knew this issue was going on in the community. And when I say leadership, one person that I could think of is the mayor. Mayor knows. There's no way that you as the mayor and you didn't see that 90% of the African Americans was out there being pulled over, and that the main source of their budget was off the ticket and revenue, tickets.
Yeah.
That's just not right. That is not healthy, and that's not going to be healthy during the healing of this process. As the community tries to heal, how can someone still be, representing the people as they're trying to heal, and he, in a way, brought a lot of those issues to that community. So I think, he needs to also resign.
Because that John Shaw works directly for the city manager, period.
Mm-hmm.
Period. So how is it that the city manager resigns, but there's no response from no? So I absolutely agree. Xavier, you want to chime in on that?
I'm going to chime in on Bob McCullough.
Okay.
Now,
I thought I heard a sneeze earlier. Some of the sneeze sounded like.
Well, just the way that case was handled, it was just totally unprofessional.
Yeah.
Him letting, I believe, Attorney Elisa Day do what she did, and them not the DOJ not getting on them and not making them resign.
She issued a statute from 1985
exactly.
that was no longer a law, that was
exactly.
no longer pertinent or relevant to that case. That
exactly.
is what she presented to the jurors, just in case anyone didn't know what she did in question. Okay, that's what she did.
And I believe the jurors were ashamed. I mean, that the fact that this guy was not cross-examined at all. He was not cross-examined at all with the questions that the answer that he was given to the questions that was asked. It made no sense at all. I mean, we can go back to everything he said, and point out so many flaws and so many things that we could have that should have been cross-examined.
Yep.
That we now have to. I believe we need to probably
redo that. Right?
Redo this. But can we, though? That's the issue.
We can't. Double jeopardy.
We can't. Right. I don't know. I think it was just a whole sham, and the way that they went about it, totally unprofessional, and that the DOJ needs to look into Bob McCullough and Elisa Day resigning, because it was just not right.
Craziness. Okay.
So with all of that going on, so much has happened, even since we've set up this interview. I mean, things have happened in between time. And I would like to know if you guys have individual goals for, with your leader-like position, with your leader position. What goals are you trying to accomplish with all of this going on?
Well, me personally, I want students to understand that they have the power to change what needs to be changed. And I'm pretty sure that sounds generic and kind of corny.
No.
But it's real, It's real. And what I've known and what I've seen is that once a person realizes their full potential, then they're limitless, And I myself is an example of that. It took so many people to get me involved in student government, and it took me to get those other students involved.
Yeah.
Get out and doing community service in Ferguson, going down Canfield Green, donating food and whatnot.
Yeah.
So I just want to shed light on those students and let them know that they have the potential to do something great. It doesn't take much. You just got to realize it in yourself.
Absolutely. Rasheen, do you have any goals that you'd like to see accomplished with your leader position?
Sad to say, it may sound a little of the same. I agree. Not as far as students and just, young people in general. Since I have that opportunity or privilege of being able to work with students and young people in the community, I would like for both sectors to get more involved and get more engaged, and then the process either in their community or either on college. Because like he said, we have a lot of power that sometimes we feel that we don't have.
Exactly.
And when we come together and we become, unified and organized, we can really move mountains. Looking at Ferguson and looking what the young people have been doing, they have shined a light on issues that has been, very damaging to this region for years, and we're actually starting to get some positive change out of it from the resignations of certain officers in the DOJ report. So for more young people to get involved, and sometimes that's us figuring out what is it that they want to get involved in, because you just can't say, let's get involved, and they're not interested in the work. So finding a way that all young people can have some type of space or some type of way where they can work on whatever social justice issue it is, if it's on college. If it's in college or if it's in the community, but to become part of the process so we can start to hold whoever it is accountable, if it's on our college or in our community, so we can see the transparency that we need to see and make sure that everything is running like the ones who are supposed to represent us are the ones who are in our schools saying this is going to happen, that it actually happened. And once we come together, they see we have that power, they won't pull the okie doke on us. They won't get away with a lot of the things that they been able to get away with because they feel like, you know, we're not together, or we're not connected, or we're not unified, so they can just do whatever.
They say if you knew better, you'd do better, huh?
Exactly.
All right. What sort of obstacles have you guys faced, or what do you think might be standing in your way of succeeding in areas that need help? Has there been any obstacles, or like your age might have been something? Like you said, you and your other friend are the youngest two people on the commission. Does that ever play a bearing, or is that ever a factor in you trying to express your decisions and express how you feel about what's going on in the community and with people of your age and older?
I do think that, you know, age does play a role in either whatever you're doing. If you're doing work in the community, or if you're doing work on a college level, I think age plays a lot, especially being young and, you know, trying to do a lot of stuff. We're always into, you know, you got many things going on. You end up getting active in a lot of stuff, and you don't necessarily have time or responsibility for other things. So we, as young people, I guess I'm trying to say, we have a lot of stuff going on. We find ourselves diving into a lot of different activities. And I think with the Ferguson Commission not having more that young person voice on that commission doesn't really get that full opportunity or full access of having, you know, young people changes or the things that young people want to see change. Me and Brittany are very well on the ground all the time. We're always talking to the other young groups like Millennials United, Tribex, and other young folks in the community. Of course, being the only two young people, we're not going to be able to talk to every young person, and that's just not going to be feasible at all. But we have been pushing for a lot of what the young people have been asking for accountability, for transparency, and for the value of their life. But once again, that youth sometimes is very difficult. It's very difficult to organize, in my opinion. Not very difficult, but it does become difficult to organize youth because of we're busy. They may think, oh, you young, you ain't got nothing to do. But young people, I mean, if they're not working and then they're in school or taking care of their family, it is tough.
It definitely is. What about you, Xavier? Any obstacles going on?
I can agree with Rasheen as far as the age part, because people don't take us as seriously as we take ourselves, you know. And it unfortunately took young people breaking and tearing up stuff for us to get recognition and for them to actually realize that it is a problem in Ferguson, you know, for them to actually come here and investigate what the underlying root causes are. Yeah. And I hope in the future that if anything happens like this, it doesn't take that, you know. We just come together and push for the changes they want without having to do the things that Ferguson unfortunately seen.
Yeah. Okay. I wanted to say, because I feel like there is two sides. Like I feel like with Xavier, it's I know you are aware of some of the events, but obviously we have two different sides of the situation. Mm-hmm. I want to know what kind of progress have each of you guys seen in the community over the past several months, because I feel like Rasheen might be seeing a lot more, or a lot of other things that you have been seeing, or even myself just being a citizen and being in the community.
Mm-hmm. I believe that Ferguson was beginning to make much progress. I mean, the negative protesting was stopping. People were beginning to put the differences aside and realize that, you know, hey, in order for us to see any progress, we have to stop fighting each other, you know. And that's what happened. But I agree with Attorney General Eric Holder when he said that in regards to police shootings, that that attempt was an attempt to unravel any progress that Ferguson was making, you know. What I've seen so far, I mean, we've all seen it in the past several days. I mean, the resignation of the chief and the mayor. I mean, not the mayor.
The city manager.
City manager
John Shaw.
Yeah. Yep. I mean, those are some things that we've seen. But we've also seen the community being more alert of what's happening, of what's going on. You know, I think so too. And they're taking notice that we're not going to let these people come in and tell us what to do, how to run our city. Exactly. We know exactly what we want and what we need to see and what needs to be done, and that's what happened. Florissant Valley has also been more open to the community with letting residents come in and share their thoughts about what's been going on with these listening circles. And we plan to be more open in the future, just in case anybody wants to come in and do anything like that, just so it's a safe zone for them to release what needs to be released, and we can make efforts and strides towards repairing what needs to be repaired in Ferguson.
Yeah. Rasheen, have you seen any progress on your side of the spectrum?
I would say two big things that I didn't notice ever since the Ferguson event didn't happen is one, what the young people have been able to do, maybe just not here in St. Louis, but across this nation, is to raise the awareness of what African Americans go through on a day-to-day basis. And I know, that may sound like, how was they able to raise the awareness of what, Black lives or whatever. But as the time been going on, as we've been out protesting, as we've been out talking to our allies, we have really put, this on the radar of what African Americans are going through, honestly, on a day-to-day basis. What is it like to be Black in America? And for, white allies to finally say, oh, my God, I understand that I'm privileged, and I need to use my privilege in a different way to help this movement and to help us grow and heal. That has been very powerful, that we've been raising the awareness and the consciousness of what Black life means. And the second thing is, and I think Xavier hit it, is the power that the community has built, the power that the young people have built, the power that we all have built, that we will no longer just let anyone come in our community and say this is how it's run, that we no longer just say, oh, the status quo is just the status quo and that's the way to go. But we will start to ask questions why, that we will continue to hold people accountable, and that we will continue to fight back, and we won't just get okie doked anymore. We won't just allow that anymore. We didn't build the power. We know that we have the power. When we come together, that we can make, we can do things that people thought that couldn't have been done.
Exactly.
Once again, these resignations, no one would have thought, a year ago or even back in August, that the young people being out there was going to make this happen, that they was going to make this possible, but they literally made this possible, and they literally are changing this nation from each state to state. More young people in Wisconsin are even stepping up after they see something doesn't look right. The way they went to the Capitol in numbers, I don't think that's just because. I think that it came from them seeing the other young people saying no longer will we just sit back and let things happen, and we don't question why, or we don't fight back.
Yeah.
Right.
Ooh, I love it. Yes. So with all of that being said,
where do we go from here?
Where do we go from here, you guys? Just today, after what has happened over the past couple of days.
Yeah, what are the next steps, man? Like, what's the next thing that we can do? How do we get more people active? How do we get more young people involved in things that, believe it or that they might not believe involve them? Like you said, they so busy, doing whatever it is that they're doing. I ain't gonna knock nobody, but some folks aren't doing what y'all are doing. So how do we get them involved? How do we get them interested in what's really going on and what's pertinent to us as a community?
All right. It's not gonna be.
I think honestly, this right here is one of many steps that need to continue to happen. Of having the dialogue. I appreciate what you guys are doing. Everyone plays a role. Everyone has a role. If it's a radio host, or if it's an activist, or if it's a student, we all have a role to play. And I think what we need to do is just all play our role and all link up together and link with the activists and link with the radio people and link with the students and figure out how can we all work on this issue together in a way. Not necessarily we have to, do a campaign all together, but we can all play a role in this situation. We all have a spot. So don't feel just because you're not part of a group or that, that you don't know too much about the issue, that you can't be part of this movement or you can't be part of a different movement. Every individual is very key in making change, because change can't be done by one person. It is done by a group of people collectively that does not stop and that continues to resist and continues to fight. So I think everyone has a role, and we all can play it.
Exactly. Yeah. I agree with Rasheen, but it's not going to be an easy ride to bring Ferguson back to what it used to be. I mean, in fact, we don't want Ferguson to be how it used to be. And I believe that the people of Ferguson are a strong and resilient people. And this could have easily been turned into a situation like Detroit is seeing in 1943 with the riots and 1967 with the 12th Street riot. That left Detroit the way it is now.
Yeah.
And it takes people like Gail Babcock, Dwayne James, Wesley Bell, and Linda Lipka, just to name a few of the residents who are in Ferguson doing something. But then it comes down to the ones who really inspired the push, and that's us, the young people who said that, we're not going to let this ruin our community, And what inspired me to be more involved is the meeting that I had with Attorney General Eric Holder when he told us at the end of the meeting, young people are the reason for change.
Yes.
So we're responsible for making that push and getting more people involved, getting the adults involved. I mean, they're not going to get involved unless they see us be involved.
Yeah.
And that's what we just did. I truly believe that if young people didn't act the way they did, as far as the Ferguson situation and what happened, the question would be what changed.
Ooh, yes, absolutely.
The chief would have still been in this seat. And there will be no reforms. You know what I'm saying? No attempts to make a reform. So, yeah,
that's
You guys
powerful
are
stuff
amazing.
right there.
Yes.
That's powerful stuff, man.
Well,
I hope that y'all learned something from this. I know I absolutely did. I
Yes,
don't
me
think
too.
that I do enough stuff in my, day to day compared to Rasheen and
Man,
compared to Xavier.
goodness, got me
Shout out
feeling-
to Xavier and Rasheen doing big things in the community, doing big things at on camp, on and off campus. I really appreciate you guys taking the time out your busy schedule to, come be on the show, lunchtime, drive time with me, Solo Hustle, and Janella.
Janella. Yes.
Do you guys have any
anything else to
closing
say?
statements or anything like that before we go ahead and shut down? Because we are a little bit over time, but hey, they not mad at us, so.
They can't be.
Right.
Ferguson strong.
We built this city.
Just to the students that are
Thank you
listening.
guys for having us. And like I said, these small conversations and the ones who are tuning in and listening, and some who may not even know what's going on, I'm pretty sure a lot of individuals learn from this. And these are the conversations that we need to continue to have. These uncomfortable, sadly to say, conversations that need to continue to happen. So thank you.
Absolutely. All right, you guys. Thank you so much for stopping in, Xavier. Thank you so much for
All right, thanks
giving
for
us a
having
little
me.
bit of your time, Rasheen. We're going to get back into the lunchtime drive time, but it's almost officially over.
Yeah, we actually going to wrap it up. We're getting ready for that Rachel J show. Y'all already know. So I do appreciate y'all for listening. I appreciate y'all for tuning in. I'd like to thank my special guest. I'd like to also thank my co-host, Janella.
Bows,
Sweet
bows.
Styles and Faces. You heard me.
And I bow.
Like I said, Ferguson is everywhere. Okay? Ferguson is everywhere. All right? That's what we need to understand. And it's a very relevant topic, a relevant issue, no matter if you're 20, 30, 40, 50, 60. Okay? So we need to start paying more attention to what's going on around us. And, just making that, like I said, being peaceful, positive, and progressive. And like I said, man, I appreciate y'all for tuning in to the Lunchtime Drive Time Live with your boy Solo Hustle, my co-host Janella, who comes in whenever she wants to, because Shorty bought a check, like I said.
I do
I'd like to thank Xavier Souter and also Rasheen Aldridge Jr., 20 and 21 years old, man. That's very admirable. I step back and I look and I say, wow. That's the type of stuff that I want for my nephew who's 17 years old. That's the type of stuff that I want, to be going on in their lives, or the thoughts to be going on in the heads of my little cousins who are 19 and 20 years old when I talk to them and they look at me like, shut up, you don't know what you're talking about. But to each his own. I'm glad that we have the such positive and dynamic members of the community at a young age who understand how important their role is, and they don't care about them thinking outside the box to say, oh, well, since it's 100 or 200 of us, I know I can move forward. It doesn't have to be nothing but 2 or 3, and you can make positive change. I appreciate y'all for listening, man. I hope y'all enjoyed the show. Thanks for tuning in. We got the Rachel J show coming up. She going to do birthday shout-outs, all that other good stuff.
Yay.
I'd like to once again give a shout-out to my family. I love all of y'all, man. I appreciate y'all's support.
Let's get it.
And one more time, like I said, this show and every other show that you're going to hear my voice on will be dedicated to my family, but most importantly, my cousin Antoine Fatty Smith and my uncle Manser Puddin Morrow. So like I said, keep my family in y'all thoughts and in y'all prayers. I appreciate y'all, man.
Will.
I love y'all for listening and tuning in, calling in with y'all requests. Shout out from your boy, man. It's been Solo Hustle. I'm signing out.
Let go.